Hi everybody, welcome back to our spring farmhouse project. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to be mostly working in the larger, or actually I don't know if it's larger, but we're going to be working in the square album. And we've pretty much got all the pages together as far as I want to go at this point with this rectangular album. So I'm going to set this one aside. So if you're only making this album, you can go ahead and skip this video and just go to the next one because today I'm going to be working in the square album. All right, so I'm going to set this one aside. And we're going to work here. And as you can see, I've got all kinds of things cut out. We're just going to start at the front. Last time around we made this waterfall, and I think what I'm going to do, we're not going to do it today, but I just want to give you an idea. Let me just grab, okay. I don't think this is going to be the one, but these are the cards that are part of the collection. Sorry about that, that was my computer. And I'm probably going to use one of these. If you don't have these, that's okay. You can just use a cut apart or a photo mat. I'm going to cut it down a little bit, mat it, put a magnet in it, and then just place it here, and it'll hold with the magnet that's already down that we put, and that's how we're going to hold this closed. But it'll be smaller. It probably won't be this one. It'll be one that I can cut a little smaller. At least I think that's how we're going to do that. So let me set that aside. So this is essentially done. We're going to do one page at a time. So you know what? I'm just going to lift this one out. Let me close this, set this aside so that we're just working on a page. Okay. So this opens up. And for now, I'm going to leave this page blank. Now, there's no gusset. I'm going to lift this up so you can see. There's no gusset here. It's just folded. So you really can't put anything too terribly dimensional in there. So we're going to put a pocket here, a triangular pocket. So let's go ahead. Let me set these aside for the moment. Then this is the, this will end up being the middle page in the book because it's the one that doesn't have a pocket here. So we're adding this triangular pocket. I haven't decided yet about this, but we're going to put a belly band here, and I've got that cut. So I'm going to set that aside, and let's go back to here, and we're going to do our triangular pocket. Super easy. Grab my scoreboard, like that. And what I want you to do to make this is cut, oh, too many things going here. Cut a square that is 6 inches square, and then cut it in half diagonally. You're going to need one of these triangles. Set the other one aside. We're going to use it in the other book. Okay. Now, close my laptop so it's out of my way. There we go. You're going to take this triangle that you just made and place it in your scoreboard, like so. Okay, so it does with the edge going up to the top, across the top, and score at 1/2 inch, right? And then you want to rotate it, and you need to score at 1/2 inch, and it might be easier for you to just flip it this way so that the other edge is along the top, and whoops, and score at 1/2 inch again. Okay, all right, and we're done with that. Now, you are going to cut out the corner, and we're going to trim these, and let me just, I want to fold them over so you can see. So if I fold this to the inside, I folded that right, let me get my page. Okay, so it's going to go like that. You can see you've got this huge amount hanging out, so it's easier. You can just cut it like this, and cut it fairly sharply, and see if that's enough. I think I could use just a little more. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that with the other side. And again, you want to cut this corner more sharply than you normally would. Okay, put my cover on my scissors. Get rid of these. All right, and get my glue. Again, I'm using art glitter glue for this, as I do for most things. So just put one side of the pocket down, put a little tab of glue, and then fold the other side over. And just burnish your edges down well. Okay. And just double checking my hearts are right side up. I want to make sure I put this pocket down in this corner. Here. And just line it up. There we go. Varnish it well. You've got quite a bit of bulk down in this corner, so you want to get that well done. I need to get a new baby wipe out. I know I keep mentioning I use these CVS. I don't know if I ever showed them to you. I buy this giant container, it lasts forever. And they're still wet, so I'm just going to set them aside to dry. Excuse me, I'm reaching over your head. I usually hang them from my little light stand or camera stand. There we go, to dry. Okay. Now, whoops, that one is lifting up a little here. Let me see. Tuck a little glue right on the corner there. And like the extra. And I think I'll just grab one of my little clothespins and just clamp it down a little bit. This corner needs it also. Okay, just press it down, and I'm just going to again grab one of my little clothespins just to hold it for a second. Put the pin back in my glue. Now, I think I've got this and then I've got this, so I think I'm trying to decide if I want a horizontal belly band or a vertical. I think a vertical. Okay. And actually, let me just... I'm still clipping these, but I'm just moving it so I'm not clipping the whole page closed. That way I can flip it over. All right, we're going to do the belly band here, and I'm going to go ahead with a vertical. And I don't know as I want it quite as wide as this. This is a scrap that I'm using. This is 2.5. I think I'll cut it down to 2. I want it fairly substantial, but not that substantial. And our pages are 6, so we want this belly band to be 7 inches tall by 2 inches wide. Okay, that's going to go there. And as you've seen me do before, I just go through and put these little post-it tape notes for myself as to what I think I'm going to do. I don't always stick with it. Sometimes by the time I get to that spot, I'll change my mind. But at least it gives me an idea what I might do. All right, so just put the long 7-inch edge in your scoreboard. Score it 1/2 inch. And of course, if you've got a longer scoreboard, just score it 6.5. But I'm turning mine and scoring it at 1/2 at each end. And it is not necessary to trim corners on a belly band because anything that you would be trimming off is going to be hidden anyway by the mat. All right, check it for fit. Oh my goodness, did I cut that off? I definitely did. That is a good 1/8 of an inch too long. I'm just gonna score it. One reason this is too long, you can't see it, but I actually have my paper trimmer off to the side, and I don't have a table that it fits on, and confession, it's balanced on top of a trash can, so sometimes it's not as flat as I would like, so I get off a little bit. I'm going to get or find in my house a table for it so that it's easier for me to cut. Let's see how that looks. Much better. Okay. Right. Now, if you want to, you can, I'm just eyeballing, by the way, where I'm putting this. I guess I could measure. You can ink these pieces if you want to. I never do. I only ink my mats, but, you know, that's a personal choice. If you like to ink them, by all means, go ahead and ink them. Go. And there's that one. Here we go. And looks like it's sticking up a little right there, but that's okay. All right. Oops, I promised I wasn't going to say that so much. Okay. Let's put our pin back in. These are probably dry enough to take the clips off, but I think I'll leave it because I don't need to. We're done with this page. So let's go ahead and go back here. This again is going to be the middle page of the book. And let's see what I have. Okay, this is, again, I've got all the little pieces for that one. Let me tuck that one back in. Pull this one out. Sometimes I go through and I make notes and I don't really actually know what I mean, and then I decide later. So I've got a couple of pages in this book that are like that. So this one I have flap, that is pockets. So I think I figured out what I meant by that, because I've done a few different pages that are flaps and pockets, but this one's going to be a different one for us. All right, so I'm going to set aside. So for the flap part, just need to cut this to length. This is 6, so this needs to be 6. I'm gonna make sure I'm not cutting. Hang on, I might be cutting the wrong thing. Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Is that? I've got all these pieces that I cut, and I just need to make sure I know what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, these are the two. Okay, yeah, these are the two. These are the two pockets. This is the flap, so I need to cut that to 6 inches, and then I'll give you the measurement. Yeah. All right. So for the flap, cut a piece that is 6 inches tall by 5 inches wide. And I'm going to go ahead and score that so I don't lose track of which piece is which. Okay. So put the 5-inch edge along the top of your scoreboard. Score it at 1/2 inch. All right, and that's going to be our flap. Burnish and trim the corners. Okay, so this flap is going to go here. Okay, like that. And I may round the corners, but we'll decide. So let's set this. This is going to go here. Then we're going to do 2 pockets. Okay, so let's see. I need to cut this. This is the taller one. So this needs to be 5.5 inches wide. So cut that. And let's see. I'm trying to decide how tall I want this pocket. I want it pretty tall. So let's cut this 5.5 by 5.5. All right, so this is going to be a pocket that's going to sit on front of this flap. So, and then this one is going to be a pocket that's going to sit on top of this pocket. So let me grab this. It's our scoreboard. This is a square, so you can put it any way you want in your scoreboard and score it at 1/2 inch on 3 of the sides. Whoops. Trim out our corners. And the top. Just like that. And again, as with all the pockets in this book, if you want to go really over the top, you could edge punch them. This here, of course we're not going to be able to round this lower edge, but we might want to round that upper edge. I think I will. Just a little bit, just 1/4 inch. That. Okay, so that's going to go like that. This is going to sit on top of that, and this is going to sit on top of this. So this piece needs to be the same width, which was 5 inches wide. So it's 5 inches wide by 4¼ inches tall. All right, place your 5-inch side along the top. Score. 3 sides, 2 short sides, 1 long side at 1/2 inch. And again, we're going to trim these upper corners. before I glue anything, let's see, this is not going to be a problem fitting, but I need to make sure this fits nicely on top of this pocket, this flap. It looks just a little bit wide. So let's see if we can, I'll score it. That did not look good. Hang on. Probably going to make it a little narrow, but I'd rather have it a little narrow than a little wide. Yes, that's going to be good. Okay, so I just need to retrim that corner. This one, and then we'll check the other one for fit. If you wanted, round these upper corners of the pocket, with your corner rounder. But I think I'm just going to leave them. All right, now let's check this one. Whoops, what on earth? I cut this one way too narrow. What did I do? Okay, good thing I checked. Looks like I cut it a ½ inch too narrow. Let me see, what did I do? 4.5. I cut it 5. I should have cut it 5.5. Okay. So 4 1/4 by 5.5. Let me fix that. Okay. I'm going to hang on to that though because I can probably use it elsewhere. I hope you find it encouraging and not discouraging that I almost always make mistakes while I'm making my books. I just leave it in the video because everybody makes mistakes, and if you make a mistake, it's a learning opportunity sometimes for how to fix it, or to see that it doesn't really matter in the end. Just go on, adjust, and see how it comes out in the end. More than once, one of my mistakes has resulted in something I actually liked better. I used to panic over them, now I don't, because I know that almost anything is fixable in some way. Check this much better. Now I made this pocket a little narrower, so I just want to make sure that I make the pocket on top of it to match. So we're going to fold that over and fold this one over, and then fold this one up. Right, now I'm going to go with this one on top of this one, and let's see, to me it looks a little wide, which is not surprising because we made that one narrower. Hang on. lift up one of these sides. And it's not, I don't think it's enough for me to have to rescore it. I'm just going to refold it and just be a little more firm about folding it over. No, it's fighting me. I'm going to go ahead and rescore it. And let's see. I think I don't need to rescore it a lot, just a tiny bit. And if you can see what I'm doing is I just scored it again, and I'm trimming out this corner again. Sometimes, no matter how much you measure, your scoreboard is not accurate, or you're not accurate, or your cutter is not accurate. So you really do have to do these dry fits and adjustments sometimes to get just the proper look. All right, let's try that again. And you know, if you've watched my videos at all, there are times when I have something that's not quite right, and my response is, oh, it'll be fine, I'm not going to worry about it. However, other times you really should take the time to fix the mistake or do it over. And you just have to decide which things you can live with and which you can't. Okay. And after a while, you kind of figure out which things in the end are going to be visible and bothersome, and which things, even though they look terrible right now, you know in the end they won't show, they won't be all that visible. You know, the eye will trick you into seeing what it thinks should be. So something that's slightly off most of the time is not going to be noticeable. But a pair of stacked pockets that don't line up, which is what I would have had if I hadn't fixed that, would have been extremely visible and would have bothered me forever. There we go, much better. There we go. Looks a teeny bit off down in that corner, but not enough to be a problem. Where it would really show, especially, would be up there. Okay, get all these trimmings out of our way. Now, all we have to do is take the pockets and attach them to the flap, and then attach the flap to the page. All right. And I'm just lining this up with the bottom and the outer edge. Right, you don't want to get too on top of that fold, because you need to make sure it'll flip freely. And I'm going to turn it over and burnish from this side. So it's pretty thick, there's a lot of layers. Just checking, looks good. All right, so now we have 3 pockets, and it's going to be a flip. And it's going to go on this inner edge. It'll be all right, there's a lot of bulk here, so I'm going to set it in about 1/16 of an inch, but in the book, there's a wide gusset, so it will be all right. But don't put this right up against the edge. Like I said, leave it in about, 1/16 or so. Because you do have quite a bit of bulk with all these pockets. 1/16, even a 32nd, just a hair. I don't know if you can see where I put mine. I'll hold it up closer to the camera. I don't know if you can see because there's a lot going on, but it's in a little bit. Okay, so now we have a flap with pockets, and then we may decide to do something there. There's a pocket here. I haven't decided on this yet. And then this is going to be a similar flap, a partial flap, going this way, and it doesn't have, it's not going to have the pockets on it. It's just going to be a flap. So that's an easy one for us to do. And let's go ahead and score it. Okay, so we'll just put the, it's 4 by 6. Put the 4-inch edge along the top. Score. Oh, that was not straight. I'll score it at a 1/2 inch. I think I'll double score it since I was not straight the first time. Okay. And I am going to corner around with my 1/4 inch. These corners. Cool. Fold that over. And this one we are going to trim. I think we're going to add a couple of magnets, so we'll do that now before I forget, because I'm nearly certain to forget if I wait. All right, so that, hope you can see that. It's just going to go along this edge. Let's go back to here and decide. I'll try and decide if I want to use a magnet on this or if I'd rather use a ribbon closure. I think we'll use a magnet. 2 magnets, so let's grab those. There's 2 stuck together. I'm going to put one there, we're going to put one there. I'm getting 2 more for that back flap. I think I still might use a ribbon on that one, except it's on the inside where I don't have a gusset, so I may end up using a magnet there too. Let's go ahead. Just having trouble getting backing off. Okay, there we go. All right, let's put that about there. As I mentioned before, you don't want to be too close to the edge. It makes it too hard to mat. Just grab this scrap. Over. Good. I'm just going to leave this scrap in here so we can open this if we need to. All right. And then again, this we haven't decided on yet. These each already have a pocket. This is a flap. And here I have the envelope pocket. And that is going to be that same envelope pocket that we did in the other book. And I'm going to show you how to measure and cut it. I mean, I already showed you how to cut the other one, but I kind of wanted to show you exactly how to decide so that you can use this same technique in any book. Doesn't necessarily have to be one this, my book, or one that is exactly this size. Hang on, I'm putting the pin in my glue. Oh, you know what? Hang on, before we do that, I forgot to do the other two magnets. Let's do that. So we get that out of the way, then we'll do that envelope pocket. Okay. That, and I'll just grab this pocket that I did by mistake. That one there. All right. Let's try to get the back off. There we go. And flip it over. There we go. And I'll just leave that in there. Okay, so let's do this envelope pocket. All right, so we know this page is 6 inches wide. And so the pocket needs to be maybe just a hair under 6 inches wide so that it doesn't interfere with the spine. All right, so this piece that I have is a scrap. It's a nice wide one. It's about 7 inches. So I'm going to cut this piece because, remember, we need a 1/2 inch extra on each side for the flap. So it should be 7 inches, right? And however, because this is actually looks like just a hair over 7 inches, I'm just going to take a little bit off because I definitely want this pocket to fit properly. Let's take a little off. All right. Hey, Holly. My kitty came to see us. I keep mentioning Holly as though my kitty, as though I only had one. I also have Jolly, but Holly is the one who is most likely to come in the sewing room and demand attention. And that's what she's doing now. She's a good girl. Okay, so I don't know if you can hear her. She's purring very loudly. Okay, so now I'm at almost 6 and 15/16, between 6 and 7/8 and 6 and 15/16. All right. All right. So what we need to do, and you can actually start, you don't even have to measure too much to start with, is, oops, sorry, she just jumped up in my chair. I wish you could see her. She's so cute. So cute. There we go. All right. Let's see. I'm going to measure. This is what I'm going to do. Put the long side across the top and score at 1/2 inch because that's going to be the bottom, right? Sorry, I was interrupted. When Holly gets in this mood where she wants attention, she starts doing things like chewing light cords. So she's going to find herself kicked out of the sewing room if she does not behave. Okay. All right, so we've scored down here at a 1/2 inch. So then I'm just going to bring my page over, and you can measure on your page. I mean, I'm going to tell you exact measurements for this one. All right, we are making our envelope pocket, and I'm not sure where we left off because I was distracted. I think I've mentioned one of my kitties likes to get under my desk and chew on light cords. When that happens, she needs to be dealt with, and she's back. We'll see how we do. All right, so we've got a piece here that's 12 inches long by just shy of 7 inches. Okay. And I place the long edge in my scoreboard and scored at a 1/2 inch. Now, we know that the book is 6 inches, right? So I'm going to pull this over. Here's the page where it's going. And I'm just lay it on top. This is sort of how I usually do this. And decide how tall do you want your pocket. And I kind of like it about 3 inches, sort of hitting the halfway mark on the page. So we've already got a score mark at a 1/2 inch, so we need another one at 3, and maybe I want it taller. Do I want it a little taller? Let me just see. No, I like that, 3 inches. So let's put it back in the scoreboard. And we're going to score it at 3.5 inches. And looking for my tool, what do they do with it? There it is. All right, so we're going to score here at 3.5 inches. So I want you to kind of see how you can make one of these no matter what size your book is. So you've got your bottom flap, which you know to be 1/2 inch. Then you need to go to the next score mark, however tall you want your pocket to be in the end. And we decided on 3. So we have our 1/2 inch, and then we go to 3.5. Then the next mark is how deep do you want the flap that comes back over. And I'm going to make it 2 inches. Right? So we're at 3.5. So we need to go to 5.5. Now, this mark here that you're making, the 5.5, you don't actually have to mark if you don't want to, because that's actually a cutting mark. So now I'm going to take this over to my paper trimmer, and cut it from the bottom to here, which is 5.5. Okay, so now we have a piece that looks like this. It's 5.5 inches wide. It's scored at a 1/2, 3.5, and 5.5. Well, 5.5 is where we cut it, so it's 5.5 inches wide with a score mark at 3.5 and a 1/2. Now we're going to rotate it and score it again at 1/2. And then before I score it, that second half, I just want to check. Hang on. All right, figuring out where it's going. It's going right here. I just want to make sure that this page, because the page may not be exactly 6 inches, and see if I need to score it wider than a 1/2. And I feel like I do. I'm going to score it 5/8 on the other side. We're going to check it again for fit. Yeah, that's going to be fine. Okay, so then what you need to do, and you may remember this from doing the other one, and I'm just going to trim a little bit off that one that I did 5/8 so it's not so fat. Okay, is the bottom, just going to trim out the corners the way you do on every other pocket like this. And then on the sides, I hope you can see that this crosses here and here. You've got a cross. So you're going to come up to that point where they cross, and then turn, and you're going to cut out this entire flap area. Okay, and then you can do it from the top if you want. Gotta come down to that point where the two lines cross, and then angle down. All right, so now we have something that looks like this. You do very well right there. I'm just going to trim that a little bit. Hang on. There we go. All right. Then I know I'm going to want to round those corners, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it now with my 1/4 inch on my Crop-A-Dial. You can use whatever you like, or you could use a border punch. That would be a good spot for it. All right. And now, you need to remember is the flap goes in the opposite direction from these tabs. So you're going to fold your 2 side tabs in and your bottom tab up like this. And go ahead and just put a little dab of glue there. Oh, pardon me. Okay. And then the flap goes this way. That. Okay, and then we're going to put another pocket right on the front of this pocket. So let's put it over here so you can see how it looks. And you can see it goes right like that. And it's going to form a pocket here. And then this is going to open up and there's going to be a pocket here. So now, I wait to do that second pocket until I've completely created this front one, because as I've mentioned, your folding, your scoring, your trimming, it's not necessarily going to be exactly the size you think. All right, so this is 5 and, it's not quite 5 7/8. It's like 5 3/16. And how tall do we want it? I think I want it 2.5 inches tall. So we're going to cut it 3 inches tall by, I'm going to call it 5 3/4. It's really bigger than 5 3/4. Let's see. It's 5 7/8. So 6 7/8. All right, so 2.5 by 6 7/8. Just double check that's what I wanted. No, I wanted to finish 2.5, so 3 by 6 7/8. All right. Then let's get our school board. Set that aside. All right, and score your 2 short edges. I don't want my sneaky slipping a lot with my scoring today. And 1 long edge. And before we go any further, let's check it for fit. Let's see how we think it's gonna do. It's gonna be close, but I think it'll be all right. You know what, I think I'm gonna take one of these edges, and what I've done is actually put it, the part I've already scored, about halfway between the score marks. So I'm getting, this one, just getting a little, just scoring it in just a little more. There we go. Now can you see that? Okay. Again, you just custom fit everything when you're doing something that's a little fussy. I mean, other things, you know, not so much, but take the time now, it'll make your life easier in the end. Okay. Just making sure that's folding on the second score line. And it is that. And like that. And then before we go any further, we're going to measure. Right, so it's still 5 13/16, just what we wanted. And again, yours is probably going to be slightly different. It just all depends on how you cut, how you fold, etc. So let's assume 5 3/4 because that's going to be close enough for the eye to see. So that is going to be 2 7/8 is going to be the halfway point. So I'm making a mark at 2 7/8 right there. Taking my 1.5 inch punch and let's get that. Want my mark visible. There we go. And let's see, I don't want to go in too far, just about there. Okay. If you don't have one of those, just don't worry about it. You can leave it out, or you can just trace a little half circle and cut it by hand if you want. And we are, oops, should have folded and burnished that first. I forgot I hadn't. All right, let's just fold that up, burnish it. Stick it down. This is a Teflon bone folder, so it really doesn't stick to the adhesive. So even though I have glue seeping out, this is clean. It doesn't stick. Okay. Now this we're going to glue right there, right on top of that. And again, if you want to ink that edge, go ahead. But we're going to mat. So. I'm going to, as with the other book, oops, I'm going to hold this pocket closed with a ribbon or a piece of seam binding. Goodness, let's get that centered a little better. Because the only way to use a magnet, I mean, I could put a magnet on the front of this, but it would be difficult with this cutout. So the only other way would be to put it inside the pocket, and then a magnet, the bulk of a magnet inside a pocket would be interfering with what you're putting in the pocket. So it's going to be a ribbon type closure. Right. So make sure that's firmly down. Okay, so now on the back we still have these 3 tabs, and they are going to go, I'm just checking to make sure I'm right side up, and I am, they're going to go here. So let's get our label out of the way. This is posted tape, but it does stick down pretty well. Okay. And we're just going to put this at the bottom of the page and in slightly from this edge, because that is the spine. Go. Now, open that again, this is going to get held down with seam binding. Okay, so this is the front page of the book, the first one. So let's get our book back. See where we're at. Okay, so this is going to be the front page, the one we were just working on, right? That's going to go there, and then this is going to be our waterfall, and I think we can take these clips out now, so let's do that. That's going to open up here. We've got our triangle pocket. We haven't decided on this. We have a belly band. Still have to decide on that. I have a note here that says dimensional frame. I don't know what a dimensional frame is, but that popped into my head. So I'm going to think about that. I have an idea what I meant. I'm just not sure how to execute it. So we're going to come back to this because I have an idea of how it should work, and once I make it work, then we'll make that. And I'm not putting anything on the back yet because it kind of depends on how this thing works. And we have our shallow pocket here, and here I have put that we're going to do a full flap, so we might as well go ahead and do that. And for that, you need a piece 6 by 6.5, which is what this is. And this full flap is going to open in that this way to the outside. I don't know if you can even see what I'm talking about. Hang on. Putting the glue in there, or the peanut butter glue. All right. So take your 6.5 inch edge across the, wait a minute. Yes, 6.5 inches. Ow, that hurt. 6.5 inches across the top, and score it at 1/2 inch. If you ever meet me in person, you will find that I am about as far from graceful as it comes. All right, I just want to make sure. This just looks wide to me. Hang on. You know what it is? It looks like I didn't quite trim it all the way down yet. That's all right. So let's see how far. Yeah, I must have been using a scrap because this is a hair over 6. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off. It's always better to start with something that's a little bit wider than you want because then you can trim it down. If it's too short, well, it's too short. You know, not much more you can do. Okay, because we actually want this in a hair from that edge because that's going to be the spine. And right now I'm doing this. I'm going to put this, hang on, let me get this out of the way so you can see. All right, so this is front of this section. So this is the spine, and I'm putting it on the side away from the spine. And I might later on decide to do, well, let me think about that. The reason I'm thinking about that is I don't know if you can see, I didn't fold this page very well, so I've got this bit showing, and I'm wondering if I put this here, if that will emphasize that, and if I should instead put it here. And yes, that's what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to actually put it on the spine side. If you folded yours nicely and you don't have that, then by all means put it on the other side. And what I was starting to say is I might add a second full flap to this page down the road. We're just going to play it by ear. I've only got one on paper collection that I'm working with, so you know, I'm not sure how much I'm going to have. If I want to add another flap, that would be quite a few mats that would be required, or at least a couple of very large mats that would be required. How's that? Good. All right. And I'm going to round those corners. But you know what? I'm going to round them now. I don't think I am going to add a second flap. If I was going to add a second flap, I wouldn't round these corners, but I'm not going to. Because I really don't. Like I said, I don't know how much paper I'm going to have to work with. There we go. I didn't do that very well. All right, so here we are. have double or triple pocket here, but I think I'm going to put something else because I already put a triple pocket inside the book. All right, so this is going to be our dimensional frame that we have not decided what that means yet. There's our waterfalls. Here's our envelope pocket. Here's our triple pocket. And then we have to decide what's going to go there. We also have to make our binding for this book. We made it for the other one, but not for this one. So I think that's probably what we're going to do next time. Trying to decide if I want to decorate these pages outside the book or put them in the book and then decorate. Probably we'll do some decorating first and then we'll make those. Just to do things a little differently than how we always do. It's nice to mix things up. All right, so let's review. The front page has this triple pocket flap. Then it opens up. This is plain for now. There's a pocket, fairly deep pocket, another one here, and then another flap, and then an envelope pocket. This is a pocket behind as well. Don't forget. Okay, so there's that. Then we're going to get here, we're going to have our waterfall. We're going to open up, we have our triangular pocket. We haven't decided on this. We have a belly band here. Here's going to be our fancy dimensional frame that we'll figure out how to make. We'll do that probably either next time or the time after that, depending how long it takes me to work out the engineering of what I'm thinking. Then we have a little short pocket, and then a flap. So we still have to figure out that dimensional frame and something else for this section. Right, so that is the square book. All right. Let me bring in the other book. And for this book, we have this triangle left. So if you're making both books, just tuck that in there. We're going to use it next time when we finish up that. All right. I think that's enough for one day. We got quite a bit accomplished. And next time around, maybe we'll do some matting or that frame if I figure out how to make it. And we'll see where we're at. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And if you have already, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. If we can get our subscriber list to over 1,000, then that opens up some more options in the way of live feeds and things like that that I can do and community stuff. So hopefully we can get there before the end of the year. I think we can. So thanks again for subscribing. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. That also helps. And I appreciate it very much. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.